Hello everybody, it's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video. We're back in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 with the theme park, and I'm very excited. This episode went a lot better than I thought it would because I got actually quite a bit done, and I think it made me just more excited about this park in general, and I think you guys are going to be excited too of what I decided to come up with in this episode. So I first started off just trying to build up some walls a little bit on the dark ride slash roller coaster indoor slash outdoor roller coaster, which is going to be turning out hopefully pretty well. I'm still unsure of how it's going to turn out, but we'll just have to see. And I'm slowly but surely completing this coaster, and I don't want to rush it. And I only, I just don't. I'm not the biggest fan of custom or placing all this custom scenery and stuff. It's just very time consuming, and I'm a very impatient guy, so it's very impatient when it comes to this stuff, and it just gotta works, or it kind of sucks because I just want it done now, and I want it beautifully, but at the same time I want to make sure it's really amazing. So I start working on a little bit of props and just overall general stuff in the queue line to make the queue line look a little more interesting while they're waiting in line. So they have some scenery to view, but while they're going in line, that's in theme and stuff like that. And this is going to be a very mined theme typed ride. So a lot of mining stuff, and I used I believe it was, what was the name of it? The Mindset by, what's his name? I can't remember the creator, but it was the Mindset wall set that has tons of different mining stuff that really is cool. So I go ahead and try and create this kind of like town setting around the dark ride to give it a little more of a theme, just some more theming objects around it to make it feel really awesome and stuff like that. So it's coming along very nicely. I still have a lot of work to do in this section of the park, but it's coming along very nicely, and I'm liking the way it's looking so far. So I'm just trying to fill up those gaps right there with some scenery objects, and just figuring it out, and it's looking really nice. And this mine area is just turning out very beautifully, and I just love it. So I go ahead and start. I start to overuse these rocks, but they look so nice. And I've never known what I've been missing out on these rocks, and they look really cool. And I've been using the same rock set from the gazebo and rock set. I don't know who it's by or anything, but it worked out. I like the looks of the rocks, and I'm sure there's some better, higher quality ones out there, but these get the job done very well. And what I'm trying to accomplish. So, and then I just add some of these pickaxes here on the rocks just to kind of give it a little mine feel. I thought it was pretty cool. And then some of these lantern lamps, overhead lamps, to give it a cool glow at nighttime, hopefully, and hopefully that will turn out really good as well. So then I realized I haven't fixed anything about this kind of random eyes at the back of the launch tower. So I decided to create this little shack that's open to give it a little creepy feel while the people walk by this little mine spot right there, and just put bars in it so people can't go through. And just kind of a cool little prop thing at the exit of the dark ride. So, and then I just go ahead and do some of the pathworks, and then I realized that after a second, I'm like, wait a minute, this is going to be the plank section, so I don't need to have those there, and I go ahead and delete that. And then I go ahead and fill in this section with some Station Jim's gardening sets with some cool planters and some flowers and just cool stuff. The red cedar tree I just kind of overuse. It's just a very good looking, high quality tree in my opinion, and I really like the way it looks. It looks really cool. Just place all these little planters and they look really good, and I overuse it, but you can never overuse flowers and plants and stuff in your parks, I think, in my opinion, because they just look really nice in your park, and it's a nice little filler. If you have this random spot of grass and everything, it just fills it to make it look really beautiful and really cool. So don't forget to save. Then I was like, what am I going to do with this spot right here? I had the option of create a flat ride or something like that, or something new, and I decided to go with something that's just kind of more scenic and cool looking. So I decided to go ahead and make a little body of water right here, and I didn't know what I kind of went with it as I went along, but it fit in perfectly in the area that it was. So then I decided, let me try and place a lot of rocks around it, or I was just going to place a couple, and then I was like, that doesn't look good. Let's go ahead and fill it up with the rocks. And of course, me overusing these rocks again, but it ended up turning up so cool, and I was like, oh wait, that looks cool. And I'll probably add a little more variety to them later, but because I used like spanned the same rocks over and over and over in the same area, but it actually turned out pretty decently. So I'm pretty satisfied with it, and it just adds a pretty cool view to the lift hill on the outdoor part of the dark ride. So I think it's going to actually make it look. It's got that look to it, in this mine themed area that's just like, wow, that's beautiful. And that's what I was going for. And then I just do some minor details here with the smaller rocks just to give it a little more character to around it, so it doesn't look all the same types of rocks through the entire, or shapes of rocks through the entire thing, which I did do a little, the only bad part about this that I had, and it actually turned out pretty cool. And I just thought it was a great filler for that little spot right there, because I had another option. I had the option, of course, of adding another flat ride, but I decided to go ahead and do this really beautiful rock thing, and I thought it turned out pretty good. And right now I was like, what can I do to add that to make it look even better? So I go ahead and do some more planting and planters and stuff, and Station Jim's gardening set, and just add a lot of little trees and planters around it, and it really made it look pop and look really, really, really nice, and at least I think so. And I'm not very usually satisfied with my work, but I thought this was gorgeous, and the colored different trees that I was starting to place, and then I got to the dogwood colors here, and I was like, oh man, that was awesome. I just thought it looked so beautiful, and I was like, oh man, look at that pink and all the color and stuff. I'm like, it's so pretty and everything. And it just kept going in this spot right here, and I thought it was looking really good. And you get that view of that lift hill of the spot, and I'm like, I got to build the path up to this so the guests can kind of get a nice little viewpoint of this little spot right here. So I go ahead and place some pathways down and just fill it in with the path covers, and it turned out pretty good. And I think I need to add a little bit more fillers and stuff like that just to give it a little bit better look to it. But overall, it actually turned out very nicely, and I'm very satisfied. So I'm going to fill in some more rocks just to kind of work on the outside parts there. I think I actually forgotten that one over there, but. And then, of course, the trees on the pathway, I decided to try and get planters. This one was impossible because I couldn't find a planter that actually, or the little planter part that actually could not fit in there, and I ended up just deleting the tree altogether and just placing the planter down and then find a tree that actually fit it. So that's what I ended up doing. Then I was like, what is this? It's kind of like a terrain hill, which is kind of interesting. And then I got into looking at the bridges, and I was thinking, in this park, I need to have a nice little bridge going over a body of water or something. And this is the point where I just kind of actually give up on that tree and just decide to place a planter base here and go ahead and go with a tree that fit in pretty well. So I was like, that's good enough. And so that's pretty much all I did mostly for this part. Which worked very nicely. I was very satisfied how that little body of water and the rocks surrounding it looked. And I don't know what you guys think, but I thought it turned out very nicely. And just to give a more environment to the place. And now I decide, I need to go ahead and put the walkways down here on top of this. And eventually I'm going to get rid of the generic entrance and exit, and I'm going to create my own. Those were just placeholders, so I knew where everything is, so that will change in the future. So and this is all going to have a building around it as well on the exit part as well, so it's going to be a pretty big building, and I just don't want it to look too plain. It's going to be kind of a basic squared building for the ride, is what I'm kind of going for, but it's going to be kind of simple, but at the same time, I don't want it to be too simple, as in completely plain, and that stuff like that. So I need to be careful about that when that comes around, when I actually do that. So again, a lot of bareness in the park, and I was just kind of looking around, thinking, I'm like, look at that view, man, of that lift hill. I thought that was so cool and everything like that. And then I was like, okay, let's go ahead and work on a little bit of a station, brakes and friction stuff, wheels that I was going to come up with, because they needed some friction wheels or brakes and stuff like that. And I didn't go too much into detail of how these looked, because I just decided to add some friction wheels. The draw distance on them are very terrible. They disappear almost instantly. So not a big deal, because the only time we're going to see them is when we're up close inside the building. So I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So then we go to the brake section here at the end of the ride, and I wish I had some cooler brakes in the long run. I wish I did, because I don't have some SNS type brakes. Would be nice, because this is kind of an SNS style coaster in my opinion. But I just couldn't find anything, and I ended up going with the mini steel coaster stuff, which doesn't even cover up the in-game brakes, but it just kind of adds to them in my opinion. So I thought that was kind of cool, and tried to delete that part, but it ended up staying. So I was like, it'll be all right. And if I don't like it in the end, I'll eventually somehow delete it. And then I got these wheel parts that didn't work out the greatest, but they didn't look too bad. But anyways, at this point, I was like, that's still a very big, bare area of path. So I was like, let me add kind of a building from the mindset that will fit pretty well. So I kind of delete the pathway and placed it. And I think I'm going to place some more planters around this spot eventually. But at the moment, this is where we're at. So we're going to go with that. So overall, this area is turning out way better than I thought it would. I'm not sure if I'm going to have another larger ride, or if I'm just going to have a couple more flat rides in that one direction, because it's going to continue on a little bit on the other direction. So I think I'm going to have at least 3 main parts of the park. So this is the first one I'm still working on. I still have a lot more to come, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and even cooler tomorrow. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.